Hello, welcome everybody. SF Live, we have a breaking news special for you this morning. And in a few short seconds, we'll be joined by Rob McLeod. He's president and CEO of Blackwolf Copper and Gold. The company put out some drill results this morning. And we actually have a twofer for you. We're also going to cover some of the staking they did last week and the press release they announced, or they put out last week as well on that. And Rob's going to give us some more color about the claims they staked and why they actually do it. So good history, good story there. So stay tuned for that. And before we switch over, of course, be reminded to follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, of course. Turn on that bell notification. We do all our interviews live. That way you do have an advantage over just watching the replay hours and hours later. You can act and use that information directly. Now, enough of myself. Let's switch over to our guest. It's a breaking news special. Let's keep it snappy. Rob, wonderful good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, Kai. Thank you for having me on this exciting morning.
It is an exciting morning, and for some reason, my watch list is very green this morning. So it is an exciting morning compared to yesterday. And of course, you had great drill results. One of the highlights, of course. Run us through the key numbers.
Sure. So we reported 4 underground drill holes today. So at our Niblack VMS deposit located in southeast Alaska, there's a full production size underground ramp, and so we've rehabilitated it, and we came in with a couple of drills to do some exploration holes and also to step out from the current resource of the lookout zone. So the lookout zone has about 5.6 million tons of indicated resources and about 2.4 of inferred. So we started out, it was the first time our management team has drilled this particular deposit. So we started out with, let's call it an exploration, a safe one. Let's drill through so we can see all the rocks, all the stratigraphy. And we're targeting an area that actually the historic intercept was 1.2 meters of 3 grams gold and 2% copper. And so we drilled the first hole and we hit which is hole 226, a much wider interval. It hit 27 meters. And when, the great thing about massive sulfides is if it's going to run or not. Maybe with the exception of the gold, you still, of course, have to analyze for that. But we had 27 meters of 1.9 grams per ton gold, a little over 1% copper and 1% zinc, and about an ounce of silver. And we're like, okay, this is way wider. Let's do a second hole on it. And we hit a remarkably similar interval. So over 32 meters, about 1.5 grams gold and over 1% copper and percent zinc and ounce silver. And so this really speaks, it's wide open in this direction. And these type of intervals, you can add tons really, really quickly. The holes are 35 meters apart, and that's about the spacing that you'll have for indicated resources. So if you just did a volume around those, and it's pretty easy to do the math, is, two drill holes like that can add in the range of 150,000 tons plus to your resource. So really excited with those numbers. And nice higher grade cores within 4 meters of close to 5 grams gold and 76 grams silver, 2.6% copper and 2.3% zinc in hole 226. So really excited with those. And then also we're drilling way down dip from the main resource. Like the lookout zone's a big, wide ore body. It's widest. It's about 120 meters wide, and so then you get like these long, thinner intervals that are on the margins. So we're kind of sniffing around the margins. We've got to find where's that big trough that will build the tons really, really quickly. So quite an encouraging bunch of results today.
No, fantastic. I got to follow up on a couple of things you mentioned. And you said you expected 3 to 5 meters, then you hit that first hole 226 with 27 meters. I do have to ask, that's true width? Yeah. So.
Very, very close to, and you can see from those 2 holes that's quite consistent. And if you go to our website or look at our corporate presentation, or actually on the Twitter feed, there's a cross section where you can see the sort of estimated widths there. Probably call it 80 or 90% of true width.
And 4 out of 5 holes were released. The 5th hole you didn't finish. And you mentioned the press release. That's why I have to follow up on it. Why didn't you finish it? What's the plan there?
And so also you'll see at the end of the release, we disclosed in this, for us, full disclosure is exceptionally important as it should be for all juniors. We shut down drilling because we were having some issues with our camp. Actually, we had a barge camp out there, and the system failed. So the whole thing smelled kind of like didn't smell very good. So we're like, you know what? Let's shut it down. Let's take a little break. And then as we were reviewing what do we have ahead for this company over the next couple of years, and it's our ambition to take this project to a feasibility study, is let's plan for success. So we said, let's put it in a whole new camp, or it's a camp that we're renting, not purchasing. And so we're just starting to get that program underway, and then we'll be back underground drilling really, really soon to follow up on these, as well as we got. We should have our permits imminently for a bunch of the surface work that we want to drill. We want to drill out at Dama, which following up on the 19-meter intercept of 6% copper. And of course, if you recall from our most recent round or previous batch of drill results in and around the old mine, we want to follow up and around there. So we have quite ambitious and aggressive exploration plans for the whole property, both from surface and from underground.
Okay, I got to follow up real quick. Permitting, you said you're waiting for some permits to start working. Just catch us up on the timeline again. You said imminent. Put that in perspective.
We expect to have that any week. So the way it works in Alaska is there's different categories of land. So in and around the current deposits, those are all private land, patented mineral claims. As you further out onto federal lands, you need permits for that. So earlier this year, we submitted those permits, and we should be getting those fairly shortly. So we're permitted to drill in some areas. We don't have the permits in place to drill others. There's in Southeast Alaska, there's sensitivities to what is a remarkable natural environment out there, and we're certainly supportive of that. We're going through all the right process, and really looking forward to getting out on the ground and testing some of these new areas along the 5 mile long trend that hosts VMS mineralization. Yeah.
Yeah, and putting in the all-weather camp, all-season camp as well, there's no issues actually. Like you're not under any time constraints anymore. Like it allows you to work year-round, no issues. And you're drilling partially from underground anyway, so weather is not a factor. You're not in a hurry to finish drilling by mid-October because snow is coming back in, right?
Oh, sure, and we'll be able to work year round out there. It's going to be a 60-person camp, so there'll be lots of capacity for expanded programs in the future. And once you're taking these type of deposits to feasibility, there's inferred resources that we need to upgrade. All the technical and environmental studies that come along with getting a project to that stage. We will be setting ourselves up for success to execute on our plan. And this doesn't mean that there's going to be like a hiatus in news flow at all. Once our crews will be out there and doing some reconnaissance work and exploration, and then we'll be back drilling again. So, and then also as was released last Thursday, we have these new claims that we've staked in the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle that will also be our crews are heading out to Hyder, Alaska, actually this week. So
heading out, it's a 2-minute drive, isn't it, from Stewart?
It's less than that, depending where you put the margins of Stewart. But really, really excited to get our crews out to work in essentially what is my hometown. I'm not Alaskan, but Stewart and Hyder are kind of a combined community.
Exactly. But run us through the idea generation behind it. Like, why'd you stake the claims? What did you see? Like, what triggered it? There's a bit of history there, from what I understand.
Actually, it's a really interesting a backstory. And what's super timely is a lot of people have been oohing and ahhing about Pretium's drill results yesterday from their Bruce Jack mine. And I think this guy, Bruce Jack, is actually named after my cousin Bruce is the CEO of Sabina, and my grandfather Jack McLeod. So I've got a long family history up in that part of the world. And after my dad passed away, I have all sorts of boxes of his memorabilia, and this is like back in February. I'm reading through some of his old stuff. He had like old journals and things. And in the 1920s, on the Alaska, sorry, this is a bit of a long, drawn out story, but back in the 1920s, there was there were some miners that were prospecting along a glacier, and they found these little veins of pure electrum. Like that's what they're drilling up at Bruce Jack, those type of strings. And so they followed along the glacier, and then they said, "Oh, it kind of stopped here. It's got to be under the ice." So they actually, using steam, which was a common practice for underground alluvial gold mining in the area, to tunnel under the ice, thousands of feet of tunnels, to try and find where these came from. And they found some of the stringers, and they pulled out a few hundred ounces of gold. It was a remarkable effort for that. But that was in the 20s and 30s, and the ice is long gone. There has been no, and I follow this area really, really closely, there's been no modern exploration on the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle. There's maybe it was a little bit south of Premier, but if you go to the west of what's called the Salmon River, there is a lot of work being done in the 20s and 30s, and of course, there's been tons of work that's been done in the Golden Triangle. The last work that we know of is from the 90s, from government geos, and so we're really excited. It was like, you know what, this is a real great value add to the company. You know, our execution for Niblack and advanced stage projects is still a core vision for the company. But anytime you can add these type of projects, you look at juniors that are across the border and they have $10 to $50 million market caps based on having prospective ground. You know, we just added that through staking, and staking in Alaska is a bit of an art. It's still the old 1896 federal United States staking laws. So it requires, there's a forest of claim posts that we put out there on the Alaska side of the border back in the spring. So
fantastic.
We're really excited to get our crews out there. Some very good numbers.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. What's the permitting situation now? It's like, okay, you got the project. You said you're mobilizing the crews. What kind of permit do you have? What do you need to do to take the next steps?
So for reconnaissance type work, and we're going to be doing fly camps or spike camps. So it'll be geologists and prospectors that will be basically going out there banging rocks and looking for electrum veins. And or any other veins. You know, we've got a bunch of different target models there, and you don't require a permit for that. In Alaska, it's probably about anywhere for a 3 to 6 month process to drill. So we won't be drilling out on those properties this year. We don't really have any targets worked up because we actually haven't been on the ground. But you know, we'll see what we do with these assets. Maybe it becomes a spin out down the road, or maybe you find a joint venture or something like that. But you know, while we're upgrading our camp out at Niblack, this is a really great thing for our crew to do. And in addition to myself, you know, our technical team, I'll put it up against anybody in the Golden Triangle. In fact, I think we're the best, and so we really know how to explore these rocks. And looking forward to some great success out there as well.
Oh, fantastic. It's nice to be opportunistic from time to time. So that works out quite well. And good use of time for your team, obviously, as well, while there's some forced downtime, right? So do that. To sort of wrap this up as well, let's run through the catalyst news events you expect the next few weeks, months, perhaps, over the summer, and then we can put a bow around it.
Sure. So we will be back drilling later on in the summer once the camp is in. So you know, I'm targeting in around the end of July. We are working still on some other opportunities for the company. So hopefully, you know, both on the exploration side, and as well as looking for other advanced assets that might be synergistic with, if that's a word, with Niblack, combining ore from two different deposits into one operation. We are very actively working on that. The commencement of surface work out here, And also, we should be ramping up our marketing a little bit as well too. We really understand the system here geologically. We still feel that, based on, we've got a really nice share structure with just 31 million shares outstanding, very good shareholders both on the retail and the institutional side. Is we really want to focus on getting the story out more and telling the world why this company is such good value.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for running us through the results and also giving us a bit of a background there on staking the claims there just in Alaska, just in Hyder, Alaska there as well. It's always great to hear that history a bit. Like I love it that your dad had those notes and you found those claims, or at least those mentions of the electrum veins in there. It's fantastic. Makes it exciting, right?
You bet. All right. Okay. Thank you very much,
Rob, thanks so much. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in. SF Live breaking news special here with Rob McLeod, President and CEO of Blackwolf Copper and Gold. They put out some fantastic drill results this morning. Go to the website, blackwolfcopperandgold.com, to read up on the press release. And make sure to follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. That little bell notification helps you get notified when we go live. We do all our interviews live, so make sure to use that to your advantage. Thanks so much for joining us. And